see it, refuses anything. And then when they release me, they say they're dropping charges because of a lack of sufficient evidence. And in fact, there's no evidence, which is the whole point of the Congress looking into things now.
Not to mention the fact that the perpetrators of the crime are still free.
Absolutely. There are at least 4 people running around who have murdered.
Welcome. Good evening to the Fatal Vision podcast. This is your host, James McGinnis. Welcome.
We are live
and a recording right now. Wait, is this a live stream? It's not, is it?
Oh, shoot.
No, it's not. We'll cut that out later. That was supposed to be a joke, but
okay.
No, it's not a live stream at all, Billy.
Yeah, we should cut that. We should cut that.
Be cut. Yeah, this whole thing is going to be. This whole episode is just.
I want to note that I said shoot.
Oh, yeah. No. Take us into that reference. We've got a lot of feedback after the last episode. A lot of hateful feedback. So, want to take us into what happened?
I looked at the comments and
always a mistake.
A lot of shouldn't have done that. Except if I didn't look at the comments, I wouldn't see all the really nice people.
No, I mean that's a joke. 99% of them are beautiful and a gift, and I welcome more.
We should get more.
Tell them what happened to you and me.
Well,
in the comments.
I don't know. Somebody I do not know, I've never met, told me that she was disappointed in my profanity. And then I tried to remember what profanity I had used, and I went through the video and I was fast forwarding to parts where I was talking and looking for the profanity, and I please don't go back and research and clip it, and I'm sure it happened, and I don't want to hurt anybody anymore.
I know for a fact that I said the F curse last time. Probably talking about McDonald, So it might have been me. Maybe they just misinterpreted the speaker. Or maybe the AI transcribed it under your name in a transcription, and you were attacked unfairly.
Yeah, I don't know. I really.
This is the kind of thing where people be like, "Yeah, I tried listening to that podcast, and they were just bantering and stuff, and I'm just a meat and potatoes guy. Just get down to the case." But yeah, this is we got to warm up a little bit. We got to grease the wheels here.
Throat clearing.
Yeah, a lot of throat clearing.
Hey, why don't you let everyone know where we left off?
Well, yeah, because I had a live, on the phone conversation with a real person that, and they gave me a ton of feedback. And one of the best things was to remind our listeners where we left off in the book last time right away, so that we don't lose track of that. That was terrific feedback. Again, thank you for that. And we talked, Billy and I talked about it offline. So we did leave off last time. We were still in 1970. McDonald is out of the Article 32. He's free and clear. And the book is, we did the Rock Report, and we did the amazing Newsday article where McDonald gave a full detailed account of the murder and his version of the murder and the interrogation, which he knew was recorded, and made several deviations from the factual record. So that was an amazing chapter, part of chapter 3, part 2. And we think we have it in us to clear the road tonight to the end of chapter 3, and therefore the end of chapter 2, or excuse me, part 2 of the book. We're right there. So that's what that'll catch you up to speed.
Yep, we're right there. Here's the copy I'm using.
Oh yeah. Here's the copy I'm using right here. 2025-83.
Perfect. Now we got our thumbnail.
That's our thumbnail. Should we just bring ourselves into the work? Should we just get into the business of doing this podcast?
Yeah, let's go.
Just if you're new, this is sort of the spine of the podcast as we go into this incredible text called Fatal Vision. And
written by James's father.
Written by because I did the most recent comment said, "Who is James McGinnis?" That I'm literally descended from him. He was my father, so that's probably why I'm interested in the book and the case itself. And I hopefully that's given me some access to information and commentary, and somehow gives me a line here. So that's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So we just talked about that beautiful interview that McDonald did with Newsday before the Bob Keeler interview era. So Billy, do you want to take us into the spirit of the text right now?
Sure. Despite the fact that when the interview appeared, McDonald found very good response, it's being carried in Raleigh, possibly LA Times and Chicago Sun-Times, and that's in quotation marks. That must be from a journal
from his
entry.
diary.
Yep, his diary entry. He was not content to leave such a vital matter as future publicity solely in the hands of Bernie Siegel, nor to trust the Newsday reporter to do right by him financially. In October, even as he awaited the Army's decision on whether to dismiss the murder charges against him, McDonald began to act as his own agent. This is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, this is gonna be quite good.
He wrote to John Sack, then of Esquire magazine.
Just real quick, isn't it odd that he chose Esquire of all magazines? I mean, I guess it's not odd because we know that
why for the people that are just tuning in.
Well, that's the magazine that he smeared blood on the night of the murder when he was
allegedly.
Well, there's blood smeared on it, so you could say that it could have been done by the hippies themselves as they were trying to figure out what to do next. But McDonald had read the magazine with his best buddy, Ron Harrison, on a couple days before, and saying it was really far out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the night of the murder, he went back to it. He left a bloody smudge on it, and there was references to the Manson killings and things like that. So anyway,
all right. Well, I'm gonna read the letter he wrote.
Please go on.
As always, when I'm in the voice of Jeff, I try to think about what it would feel like to be really hot and jacked and aggressive.
Yeah, that'd be amazing
if I could ever be that. Okay,
did it for us.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, James.
All right, we'll cut that out. We talked over each other.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna cut that. Okay.
Yeah. They cut it. It's gone.
Oh, sorry. It keeps happening, James. You gotta let me.
All right. It's already. Yeah.
Dear Mr. Sack, I am a 27-year-old Green Beret physician currently awaiting the result officially of an Art 32 investigation into the murder of my wife and 2 little girls. This letter is being written to you for the purpose of interesting you in writing a major article and/or book regarding the events of the last 9 months. The Army has attempted to cover up a bungled investigation by charging me with the crimes, in spite of the fact that my story fits the facts. We have complete files documenting the case and the Army screw-ups. The case has received nationwide publicity on several occasions, as well as continuous local news in the NY and North Carolina areas. Several politicians have had some association with the case: Goodell, Pike, Irvin, Javits, and the Pentagon is intimately involved. Public opinion has changed so that it is now almost 100% on my side, at least from the mail I get. The case certainly has all the emotional impact any case could have, and in addition has some interesting sidelights, such as a fundraising drive by a prominent NY socialite, Dr. Howard Bellin, and his wife, Countess Christina Paolazzi. I don't know if I said that correctly.
Paolozzi.
Okay. My
Cut
lawyers
that out.
are currently in contact with Look magazine regarding a possible article, but I am more partial to your style, and they will agree with any decision I make about the author. I would appreciate hearing from you as soon as possible. Quick note, and this note applies throughout the rest of this chapter, seemingly. A brilliant McGinnis move to just print the letter. Because
Yes.
you could imagine a version that says he wrote to John Sagden of Esquire,
Oh,
seeking greater publicity for the case. Joe just, here you go.
I
Have
think
a
I
look.
was listening. There's one of those. I think I was listening to a Larry King from '84 tape yesterday, and he said, "This is the book that I did. It's my longest book, and I did the least amount of writing because he did everything for me. You know, it's like it's all reported. You don't
Right.
need. There's all, McDonald does it all, lays it all out for you.
Yeah. On the same day, he wrote to Jack Nelson of the Los Angeles Times. Now we're back in a Jeff letter.
Mm-hmm.
I have recently read of your exploits in the world of expose, as chronicled by Time magazine. It occurs to me that you are well suited to write a major article on my case, and I thought I would write directly to you and attempt to elicit your interest. My lawyers are currently in some first stage talks with Look and Esquire, but nothing has been firmed up, and they will agree on whoever I choose to write the story. He also wrote to a reporter named Jack Bass of the Charlotte, North Carolina Observer. I have recently read of your exploits. All right, I have recently read of your exploits in the world of expose as chronicled by Time magazine. It occurs to me that you are well suited to write a major article and or book on my case. My lawyers are currently in some first stage talks with Look and Esquire, but nothing has been firmed up.
Oh, this is before you. He had to literally copy and paste, or cut and paste, to just produce the same paragraph over and over again.
In both these letters, McDonald mentioned that among the several interesting sidelights was the fundraising drive being run by NY Dr. Howard Bellin, MD, and his jet-set type wife, the Countess Christina James,
Paolozzi.
that at least 6 senators were involved intimately in the case, that there had already been extensive publicity, and that I now have full public support. After John Sack declined to participate, McDonald wrote to author Robert Sherrill, I am well aware of your interest in military justice. In addition, Mr. John Sack of Esquire suggested to me recently that I contact you. This letter is an attempt to stimulate your interest in writing a major article and or book regarding my case. My lawyers are having some very preliminary type discussions with Look regarding the case, but nothing is finalized. They will agree with me on whomever I choose to write the article/book, and I like your style, so I hope you respond to this letter either way as soon as possible. He added that people appear to be about 9-1 for me. During the same week, the editors of Time magazine received a letter. Dear sir, this letter is not a crank letter. All the facts in it can be verified by contacting the indicated people. My name is not signed because I am an active duty captain in the U.S. Army, and the Army has ways of making things unpleasant for people who speak out against the system. I have recently been an escort officer for Captain Jeffrey R. McDonald, MD, a Green Beret physician who stands accused by the Army of the 17 February slaying of his wife Colette, 26, and his two girls, Kim, 5, and Christine, Seek, 2, in their Fort Bragg apartment. Let me review a few pertinent facts with you and let you decide if this is a news story or not. Do you want to?
What do we think of that?
I think
You think
Jeff
he
wrote
wrote it?
that.
He wrote it and he spelled his daughter's name wrong?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right. And Colette was 25 when she was murdered. So so you got her age wrong and his daughter's name wrong.
Yeah, to throw them off the scent.
Oh, so this is all part of that was a conscious choice to show that it's not me.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Okay.
That's my
Gotcha.
opinion.
All right. Yeah. No, I'm sure you're right that he did write this.
But Joe doesn't say that. Joe just says
No, he's
the
just
editor
leaving
of
it
the
out there.
Time received a letter.
He's dropping breadcrumbs for you. There's a little bit more. I'll take us through the rest. The letter continued for 6 pages, describing how McDonald had been found semi-comatose in his apartment and had been rushed to Womack Hospital, where he was found to be suffering from several stab wounds, about 5. And it further stated that McDonald had been placed in intensive care and he required 2 chest tubes to be inserted to prevent death. I'm wondering if I could find these letters now and all the stuff we have. We'll circle back to that. The letter continued. Almost every thinking person on post is behind Captain McDonald, and its author stated, I know for a fact that Senators Goodell and Javits and Representative Otis Pike are looking into the Army's role.
Oh,
Despite the fact that Captain McDonald remains in isolation, the letter said he seems to have maintained his cool and his sense of humor, how only God can say. His mother visits him frequently. After urging that Time do a story on this gross injustice, quotes, the letter suggested that reporters might want to contact Freddie and Mildred Kassab for a heartbreaking story of Captain McDonald's family life, how he bought his children a pony for Christmas. The jet-set Countess, Christina Paolozzi, was mentioned, as was the fact that Captain McDonald has received hundreds to thousands of letters, all favorable except about 10, he says. He has received them from all over the U.S., Canada, and other countries, including Russia, Poland, England, Peru, Brazil, and Italy, all favorable to him. In conclusion, the anonymous author wrote, I sincerely hope you act on this letter. Please try to set some of these facts before the public. It will be the truth, and it will help to correct some of these terrible ills in the military justice system, and will force the military to release an innocent, grieving man. I'm so sorry I cannot sign my name. The letter was written with a typewriter and on stationery, which appeared remarkably similar to those used in the writing of the letters to which McDonald had signed his name. Time eventually did print an extremely sympathetic 4-column article in its law section under the heading Captain McDonald's Ordeal, referring to him as an all-American achiever who had always had his merit rewarded. And the Jack Anderson column, never reluctant to pounce on an example of military malfeasance, ran a story which accused the Army of having tried to railroad McDonald, a man whose friends swore he was incapable of such a hideous crime. The Washington Post printed the column under the headline, Guilty in Beret Killing Still at Large. Bernie Siegel's negotiations with Look, however, failed to come to fruition, and none of the reporters or authors whom McDonald had contacted agreed to tell the story he wanted told. Section break.
And
All
now
right.
this book
Yeah.
begins with Jeff taking Joe out for Huevos Rancheros and
Yes.
pitching him on the idea of writing this
Finally
book.
decided to write my book. It's finally time.
Jeff, your book is right here, man.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. It was much appreciated. Still is.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. I'm sorry. Is that how an innocent, normal guy would act?
No, this is really weird. That's also the self-destructive part of him, which everyone likes to make such a big deal out of, like, oh, if he had just sort of, gone quietly, the army would have let it go, and no one would have ever gotten around to charging him with murder. And it's true. He's not, he'd already give that crazy interview before the judgment, and then he was trying to he's begging reporters to write his story. And the thing that makes him seem not innocent, in particular, well, I guess I still want to talk about him being self-destructive, was pointing them to talk to the Kassabs. Like, you got to talk to Fred and Mildred. That's you got to talk to them. They're going to tell, they'll back me up 100%. It reminds me of there's a lot of echoes and how the places he pointed Joe McGinnis to go after, talk to these people that went on a boat with me, and and all that jazz. So, and the fact that he made all these letters available to Joe 9 years later, it's pretty wild. So I don't know. What about it particularly? It doesn't seem like he's a grieving man in particular. It's everything you're going to see and hear on Cavett is just telegraphed here. It's, and I think from having heard the whole Cavett, I think his sort of vision for himself in the immediate aftermath was, I think he wanted to sort of launch a career in politics, and he really wanted to get into military justice reform. Like in the Cavett interview, he says, "Well, we might need to overhaul the whole system of court-martial. We need Congress to act." So I think that was it was a sort of he's testing the waters on that.
Yeah, I'm struck by the fact that Jeff talks as though there's like some polling operation he's been running. 9 out of 10 are with me.
Well,
the approval rating is off the charts.
Off the charts. I mean, the things that are conspicuous are that he's talking about his fan mail.
Pretty weird.
Really weird.
And so an idea kind of built into this book, actually, interestingly, it's kind of part of the McGinnis-McDonald story and how it lives now. But there's this idea of like you get a person talking and they reveal that which they don't think they're revealing. They kind of give themselves away. Jeff is not conscious of how he's perceived. He is so utterly convinced of his total magnetism. Yeah, he'll show these letters to Joe. What could go wrong?
No, I mean,
he probably thought it was a totally normal thing to be writing to journalists talking about the fan mail he got from Russia, Poland, England, Peru, Brazil, and Italy.
And the other thing that the flex that he keeps doing about the Countess and Howard Bellin is so crazy.
Yeah, he can't help it. He's in the grips of a pathology, right? His condo years later is covered in mirrors.
Yeah.
This is just he is of he is acting as he is fully.
Yeah. He can't do anything else. And then,
That's
by
it. That's it.
yeah.
A
And
well-adjusted person, right, has these self-aggrandizing thoughts, self-centered thoughts, narcissistic delusions, can recognize them, ridicule them, not speak them aloud, not put them in writing. Jeff just can't do that.
well, I mean, compare and contrast. And I know, the McDonald defenders lurking out there. You can't tell someone how they process grief or trauma, but you just compare it to how the Kassabs went from being, active members of the Domino Yacht Club, New Year's parties and all the rest of it, to just be never leaving the house as a result of that. And that seems the most natural thing in the world. And Jeff is fucking, excuse my language.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry, they got it. They bleeped it. We're on a delay here, so that's okay. But Jeff is reveling in it. And I know that the sympathizers to him will say, "Oh, believe me, it's the only way he could cope was pretending like it never happened."
That you had a Casey Anthony documentary on Peacock a couple years ago that argued similarly. That was more about she was so traumatized by other things that
She had no choice.
Yeah,
but to not call the cops about.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that.
I don't either. I didn't see the show. I never followed the case, but
outside issues.
Yeah, she definitely did. I mean, I'm sure McDonald had all sorts of trauma, from his Fire Island driving the taxi on Fire Island and all the sex work and all that. And
go back to episode 25, man.
Yeah. It's not, I'm not saying his life was without any pain, but
no, but Joe letting him narrate his own story, both in the voice of Jeff Chapters and through these letters, it is ultimately so revealing and part of the brilliance in how Joe told the story.
it was it's an absolute tour de force.
Well,
really.
yeah, like taking us through the April 6th interrogation, just direct quotes, page upon page upon page. And then you get to this section with the interview about the April 6th, where Jeff is describing it. And it's nothing like what we just
nothing
lived through.
Nothing like. And we spent whatever it was, 50, 75 pages on that one day in this entire saga.
Right.
And then you hear Jeff just warping it to his insane version, and then just the choice of being willing to trust the reader to read the same letter 4 or 5 times in a row in your book. It's not a lot of real estate to turn over, and it's clearly something that made the call that this is worth you reading over and over and over again to get the point. You don't need me to say.
Yeah.
And then he wrote the same 5 letters. He sent 5 letters that day, and they all said this. And
this is also funnier.
It's way funnier.
Yeah.
No, that's insanely funny.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever laughed as much as I have on this podcast until today. Just the experience of it. So
yeah, a lot of these episodes are kind of a joyless, like, death march. It's good.
Well, not really, but
we get some jokes in here.
Yeah, Joe's peppering it. He's giving us some levity here.
No, I was being droll.
All right. Oh,
Yeah,
you just did this. You weren't serious. Okay. All right.
I laugh in every episode. You can check the record on that.
We'll erase that.
You check the transcript?
We'll make an AI compilation of all of our laughing over the years, and that'll be like a year.
Bonus
We do like
content.
2025 year in review, or
Laughs. The laughs.
yeah, top laughs of 2025.
Paywall that though. I don't want to just give that away.
That's going in the vault. That's going into the elite platinum plus premium.
Like Electric Nebraska.
Yeah, that's
Where it's
only
just
for
put
the
out.
what is the euphemism for the ticket scam? Dynamic pricing.
Dynamic pricing.
Yeah, we're going to use dynamic pricing on that compilation.
Yeah, so if 5 people are looking at it at once, price goes up to 10K.
10 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. It's dynamic. I mean, dynamics are good. It's good to be dynamic. So
supply and demand.
Yeah. Oh man.
Free enterprise system.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here.
Free speech.
We're still
free enterprise. Fatal Vision podcast.
Yes. And the other thing to mention is that as of this recording, we're 23 shy of 500 subscribers on YouTube. And that's a threshold. Apparently, someone has been telling us that they're going to hype our videos.
Wow.
And that's something we qualify for.
I'm looking forward to that.
If you happen to have just been sitting around and not subscribing, maybe you think to do it after today and get us to
freeloading. Actually buy in. Actually care about something.
Yeah, exactly. It's time. We've always had your back. It's time that you have ours now, and subscribe to the channel. That's a joke for the anyone reading along on the transcript and not listening. That was a joke.
I want to note that I chuckled at your joke, James.
Yeah.
So we're not confused about how I called our podcast joyless before. I didn't.
That's right. Oh, we're going to be quoted out of context, and then there's going to be a big lawsuit, right?
I'll never forget when we had an episode a month or so ago, and people actually reached out to ask if we were going to fight.
No. Yes, that's right. Because we were so aggressive with each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anger on display. But that's part of the vulnerability of having a cast is you come as you are.
Come as you are, man. And we chose not to edit the anger out. We do a lot of editing here.
No, we do so much. Most of it is edited and spliced deceptively.
To make us sound way more eloquent than we are.
Yeah, it's just smoke and mirrors.
All right, let's get back into the text.
Oh, sure. Okay. I guess it's your turn.
Several years later, before a federal grand jury, a newspaper reporter. Oh man, this is brilliant. Like,
this is a great scene.
Jump forward in time to cast new light on what we've just seen.
Yeah.
Several years later, before a federal grand jury, a newspaper reporter who had covered the Article 32 hearing and who had interviewed McDonald in his quarters on the morning that the charges were dismissed would recall his strong interest in the attendant publicity. He was elated, of course, and phone calls were coming in. He'd run out and come back in and fuss with his uniform and say to me, well, what do you think I ought to do? Do you think I should wear a khaki uniform or put on my greens? And I said, I don't know. You're talking about for pictures? And he said, yeah, for pictures. What do you think? The guys will be coming by 12, television and all that. And I said, well, I think you look great in your greens. So he put on his greens and he laid them out and was really concerned about that. In the meantime, I was asking him things like, well, now they've let you go. What are you going to do? How do you feel? And he said, I don't know. I can't tell you. Then he says, the coffee will be ready in a minute. And I start asking about revenge. And he says, the natural feeling of grief was sometimes replaced with a helpless feeling of rage. Well, at that point, I was thinking to myself, the guy says, I'm filled with a sense of rage, and yet he wants to know how his uniform should look for the photographers. I kept pushing at the revenge thing because I wanted to know what he was going to do. I knew what I would have done. And he said, yeah, I'd like to get these people. I think they ought to get the death penalty if they are caught. But then he started talking about going to a party in Philadelphia that night. And he made a remark about the telephone operator that he'd just talked to on one of these calls that was coming in. It was really an off-color remark. And all this in between these very profound statements about how he wants revenge and how he wants to kill people to have the death penalty. And he's enraged. And then he says, "Hey, that's a really sharp sounding gal. I could do something with that." And I said, "My God, this guy is really flicking back and forth." I got a short note from him about 5 days after my story came out. He said, "That was a really good piece. The best one you've done on me so far. How about getting me some copies of those pictures? They were just great. Signed, Jeff."
That's an amazing scene. That's in the movie too. It's very well done and very faithful. Even him like reclining on the bed, like you should hear this girl. He's talking about just some random voice on a phone. He's like getting all
Yeah.
hot and bothered about it.
Yeah, but he wants this reporter to know.
Oh, they know that he's just like the ultimate lady killer.
Very, very. Oh,
Oh, that was
yikes.
not good. Sorry.
We'll edit that out.
Edit that out.
But yeah, that he's very straight too. He's very straight.
Oh, he's definitely not definitely not into guys at all. Like no question. He's definitely no. He's like 100% into women,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not diminished about any of that by what his trauma. He can't wait to get back on the scene. I mean, of course, we know that he'd already had the lots of fun dating in his BOQ with the young lady with the tuna fish sandwiches.
I mean, we know he had tons of fun dating while he was married. You got to give him
Oh yeah.
that.
No, of course. All the time. There was really no break in the action. And I guess the thing that I always the fact that he wants the death penalty for the killers is just terrific stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to dwell on that very much. He has this line about it, but he really is much. He'd rather just talk about something else.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, if you're the defender, you're going to say, of course he doesn't want to talk about it. You know, he wants to focus on the good times.
Focus on the times that were good, man.
Yeah.
Don't stop believing.
Yeah, that's a sharp sounding gal. I could do something with that.
I'm sure Janet Malcolm would look at this and say she just admires his resilience.
Well, I think what she would actually say or write is that your courage and perseverance have moved me more than I could possibly express.
Is that a quote from Janet Malcolm?
It's a direct quote from a letter she wrote to him in 1994. It's pretty beautiful stuff. I mean, that's just love. I mean, we're just talking about love.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what this podcast is all about?
Yeah, love, let love in, right? Like wasn't that the Goo Goo Dolls?
It's the best song.
Yeah. So Janet was just letting love in, you know.
Wow. Maybe that should be our theme song. Oh, speaking of theme song.
Shit! Excuse my language. We almost forgot.
We forgot.
We're so sorry.
We could sync it later.
We will. I'll cut it and splice it in. We got an amazing letter, electronic mail.
It's an email.
From an email. It was an email because most importantly, because it had an attachment from a listener and longtime fan of the book who recorded our new theme song. We didn't have any music for the podcast, and he volunteered this.
Yeah,
and
before making any contact with us at all.
No,
he just went and created a song. So we won't play it every time, or maybe we will. But
who knows? Yeah. We're gonna cut about maybe we don't want to. The whole thing's about a minute and a half, so it's the attention span of what it is of the average scroller now. I think
what's his name? Let's give him some love here. Do you have his name?
All right. Well, there's going to be a pause here.
We'll cut that.
Cut that out later. All right, hold on. I'm still looking it up.
I'll just talk. I'll just.
Oh, here it is.
place
Here it is. I
Okay,
got
cool.
it. I got his name. It's Chris.
Thank you,
I
Chris.
don't know. I shouldn't. I don't want to say his last name on the air just to protect his privacy in case he doesn't want everyone to know that he did that.
Thank you, Chris. That really
Chris
made
H.
us happy.
Made our day. I haven't replied to your letter yet.
Oh my God,
So-
why haven't you replied to his email? I'm always telling
Well,
you
it went to the
be
fatal vision.
prompt.
It went to the podcast email. I don't. You don't even look at that one that much, right?
I don't have the password anymore.
Oh, that's right. So we're in a bind here. So sorry, Chris. I'll respond to you in writing too.
Just fire
To alert
a
you.
note back, and
I
let's
will.
get me
Fire
back
a note
in
back.
there.
All right, we're good.
All right, let's back to the text.
Okay. Allard Lowenstein, by now a true and impassioned believer in his cause, arranged for Jeff McDonald to be interviewed by Bob Schieffer of CBS. Within a week of his discharge, the result appeared. As said the news 9 months earlier that he was considered a suspect on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. Captain Jeffrey McDonald is a man under a cloud, Cronkite intoned. He's lost his family under horrible circumstances, and now he's fighting for his honor. During the interview which followed, McDonald said he had suffered approximately 19 stab wounds during the attack. Having then described the agony of the false accusation and subsequent legal proceeding, McDonald charged that the Army was refusing to renew its search for the killers because they now see how totally incompetent their own investigation was, and it would do nothing but hurt their image for the investigation to be reopened. I think it's as simple as that. They're just afraid of being shown up as the incompetent team of investigators they are. It's a nice repetitive word choice. Concluding the interview, Correspondent Schieffer said that the House Armed Services Committee had asked the Pentagon for a full report on the case. But still unanswered is, who did it, Schieffer said. McDonald feels that it's about time someone tried to find out. Here we go. So I think we might even have that tape, and we're going to try to pull it after, but this is the one everyone talks about. 4 nights later, McDonald appeared on the Dick Cavett show. Dressed in a new civilian suit and fashionably wide necktie, and with his hair longer and the beginnings of sideburns apparent, McDonald walked on stage to be greeted by a surge of applause. No longer just a viewer of Johnny Carson, but, for one night at least, a competitor.
That's very funny.
That is fucking brilliant.
More profanity.
Yeah, well, it's in praise. Just what a great turn.
Amazing.
Sympathetic Cavett referred to the baffling story, which included incredible bungling on the Army's part, and which was essentially just a nightmare that this man lived through and still is. Hey, how about we do call and response?
All right.
I'll be Cavett, you be Jeff.
Let's go. Let's go.
Right. Cavett then saying, I hope this isn't too painful for you. I feel like the journalist who asked the gory question asked McDonald to describe the night of the murders.
I can skim through it briefly, McDonald said. To get deep into it does produce a lot of emotion on my part. He told how Colette had gone to her evening class, how he had put the children to bed, how later, even though I'm a Green Beret, he had washed the dinner dishes, and how my wife came home and we had a before bedtime drink and watched the beginning of a late night talk show. He paused here and a smile flickered across his face. The audience, aware of the Cavett-Carson rivalry, responded with generous, if slightly uneasy, laughter. Later, McDonald said he had sustained 23 wounds in the attack, some of which were potentially fatal. He said, I could have died very easily. I was in an intensive care unit for several days and had surgery, chest tubes in my chest.
Did this seem like a nightmare at the time, Cavett asks? It is always easy to say he went through a nightmarish experience. Did you know that it was real, that it was actually happening, or did it seem like a dream?
Yes, it still at times seems like a dream. Nightmare really is a very mild term for that night. And what's happened since has gotten so unbelievable. I mean, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and you run out of words to describe it. Unbelievable kind of says it, but then you keep saying that, and it doesn't mean anything after a while.
Yes.
There were no facts against me, as Colonel Rock's very beautiful report illustrates. Very beautiful report.
Beautiful report.
He was appointed as the investigating officer, and he was actually acted as judge and jury for this 3-month hearing. And I was fortunate in getting a very intelligent, strong man who could withstand some of the pressures that the Army was bringing to bear. There are people in the Army who wanted a court martial regardless of any evidence. I mean, I've watched these men, I've seen them testify, and I've seen perjury.
Would that be because they had to find somebody?
Yes, that was a very large part of it, I think. Absolutely. They had done really nothing. They had performed very incompetently, and they realized that they had to do something. So they charged me.
Yes, Cavett said. We have a message, then we'll be right back. Following the commercial, Cavett asked, "What's this done to you? Do people look at you and say, how do we know he didn't do it?"
Well, yes, right. That's most people to my, face-to-face meetings have been very nice. I must say that, but I don't think I'm being paranoid when I say that there is certainly a flavor of suspicion in a lot of people's minds, and it comes out in various ways. Some people pat you on the back as if to say, "Well, we know you did it, but it's okay anyway." Other people say, "Well, it's going to be very hard to have patients come and visit you in the future, isn't it?" And I was accepted for my residency in orthopedic surgery at your alma mater, Yale, 2 years ago. And now it's being reviewed by the board of trustees.
Did the idea of psychiatric
Sorry,
examination ever come? Yeah,
bringing up the Yale thing is
yeah, it's
so
so gratuitous,
crazy. It's
so
so
crazy.
crazy.
That he had that was such uh, a talking point. He came in hand, as sort of one of his icebreakers. The other one that was canned was even though I'm a Green Beret, I did the dishes. Um,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to pause here. I don't know. Let's see if we can get through this. Did the idea of psychiatric examination ever come into play?
Yeah, we did that because my lawyer thought it was an extremely valuable tool. When he first met me, he said, "The first thing we have to do is have you examined by a competent man. And if he comes up with the wrong findings, I'm not going to defend you." He was very blatant. He was very honest with me, and I appreciated that. So we went through a very long, arduous examination, and he testified later to the effect that I was perfectly sane and normal. And it was his opinion that I was not the personality type or had any of the characteristics of people who would commit a crime of violence, especially on those close to him. 6 months later, a team of Army psychiatrists came up with the same.
Part of the investigation. The Army's private report says that the charges against Captain McDonald were not true, which certainly is an enormous difference if you're the person involved. And it's a baffling story. The more you begin to look into it and read about it, a strange picture emerges, either of incredible bungling on the Army's part, which seems quite likely in this case, or that it's just a nightmare, but this man lived through it, and it still is. My next guest is the central figure in this matter, Dr. now, Jeffrey McDonald. Welcome to. I call you Dr. McDonald now, don't I?
That's right. He's ex-captain,
Uh,
doctor.
Yeah. I hope this isn't too painful for you. I feel like the journalist who asks the gory question, but could you talk about what happened on that night last February?
Well, I can skim through it briefly. To get deep into it,
Yeah.
does produce a lot of emotion on my part.
Well, I must say I would have expected that, but surprisingly enough, I think I would read my mail as saying that the fact that I'm a Green Beret gave me more support, I would guess. A lot of people wrote to me because I was a Green Beret, I think, and they said very nice things like, I once knew a Green Beret and he couldn't possibly have done it.
It's great that the mail is just this through line through this whole episode. Dr. Jeffrey McDonald, we have very little time left. What do you want to come of all this? What's going to happen next?
Well, I think Congress is looking into things. We hope that they get into it in a big way and reopen the old investigation.
Congressman Lowenstein is helping you in some way?
Allard Lowenstein from Long Island, right. He's doing a magnificent job and he's just a great person.
This must have cost you a fortune, Cavett was saying, aside from all the other...
Right, well, aside from my family and whatnot, in the 9 months, somewhere in excess of $30,000.
Family and whatnot. All right, not to mention, Cavett said, since McDonald, to that point, had not, that the perpetrators of the crime are still free.
Absolutely. There are at least 4 people running around who have murdered 3 people.
It's just unbelievable, Cavett said. Does it seem like your life was, in a sense, ended at one point and started again in a Kafka short story?
That's exactly the feeling that you get. And you still get the feeling when I wake up in the morning, that it really didn't happen and my wife's still here and whatnot. It's been a hard year.
Boy, it's a fantastic story. I don't know what to say about it. It'll be fascinating to see what happens. Good luck to you. After this message, we'll be right back. And Jeffrey McDonald exited to music and applause.
End of part 2.
End of chapter, end of part 2.
To music and applause. That's so good.
Sound effects. Yeah, we'll splice in the real deal. And we'll probably use some magic voices to edit out the sound of my baby monitor, but that'll help later. But that was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife and whatnot, losing my family and whatnot. I lost excess of $30,000.
Yeah. Yeah, besides my family in the 9 months and whatnot.
Yeah, lost 9 months of my beautiful time and career.
Yeah. It's really a shame.
Someone in the because we posted the audio of that thing, and there was a couple of McDonald defenders in there that said, see now the context has been provided. Cavett was leading him like a dog to a bone, keeping him off the topic of his family and keeping him on point. So really, McDonald didn't do anything wrong on this interview.
Totally.
Which is a curious way to look at it, considering that everybody who saw it, including Fred, saw it, and Fred Kassab saw it in context, as did everybody else at the time.
Yeah.
There's no YouTube. So everyone that you hear commenting on it, Ken, Micah, June Desser, Kassab, all those good clips we have with people who were shocked and appalled, Stevenson, that was all real. That was all just, it was not from out of context clipping. And
No.
it's sad because it seemed like Jeff was really hoping this was going to be the first of many Cavett appearances.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really get to do a whole lot more TV until after the conviction. And he did plenty after that.
Yeah. Not anymore, though.
Not anymore, no. Actually, another listener, sent me an email pointing out that the Larry King interview was not the last televised interview, that there was something called 48 Hours that was done in 2007. And she sent me the link to that. So that's for the record. And I was my reply was that's
Any good?
I have heard the audio. We both seen clips of it. It's where uh your old alma mater, Dick Cavett. They have an interview with Cavett, and they have him in a studio watching a video of the
Oh,
McDonald
yeah.
appearance. You've seen that on YouTube. I think
It
that's on
says the
YouTube.
affect is all wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And he's like, but he says something like he was a pro. He knew how to do it. He knew how to do it. Um,
Like, ain't that something?
yeah. So
Yeah, I know that clip.
yeah, so that's a good clip. That's all we had to go on for so long with those clips on YouTube. So yeah, someone pointed that out to me, but then since '07, he's been off camera.
Yeah.
So
Too
I checked
bad.
today. He's still in Butner, North Carolina, as of today. A guest of the Bureau of Prisons, and that's where he's at right now. It's
That's where he's at.
11:56 p.m.
That's where he's
Yeah,
at. 11:56 in the East.
yeah,
He's a long, long way from music
yeah.
and applause
Indeed,
of Dick
indeed.
Cavett. So, hey, this is an iconic scene we just got through.
It is. That was an amazing crescendo.
That whole chapter is amazing, though. The
It was.
relationship between the crime, the narcissism, the celebrity culture.
Yeah, and then just the fact that Joe doesn't tell you what he thinks. It's not like I don't like. Isn't that really crazy? Like you could you could really just tap dance all over it, but he
Yeah.
just puts it out there for. Joe doesn't come into the book until the last part 6
Right.
with
But
his
I'd
whatever. Yeah.
say,
Oh well, there's
like a line like right here, not to mention, Cavett said, since McDonald to that point had not.
sure.
Right.
That's
So
you might say that's is that unfair? Is
no,
that being
no.
unfair? Yeah.
It's accurate.
Yes.
It's accurate, but you do get a sense of what Joe's doing there.
Yes. He's it just I mean, my mind's a little just been full of as I listened to tapes of Bernie Siegel and McDonald himself, and reacting to the book in the
Yeah.
in the '80s, and the way they characterize it as this one note, like McDonald is evil drumbeat for the whole book of McKenna and it's just nothing but eschatrol and pathological narcissism and McGinnis's armchair diagnosis. It's like,
No, I mean, I know people that read the book this year who said that over the course of reading the book, they went back and forth on not wanting to believe he did it and having to
yeah,
accept that he did it.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, which very much speaks to the artfulness of the book and how your dad put it together.
thank you, appreciate that sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We cracked the hour mark. Is that well? And a lot of that was me off camera, but I think
Yep.
it's safe to
So we're
wrap it
back
up.
on it. We did
We
this
did another. We finished part 2, or yeah, but that was just part 2, right? Wow.
Yep.
Okay, a lot
And
of book to
we're
go.
entering part 3 next week, the contempt of families.
Yes, yes. The Kassab takes the protagonist seat for the foreseeable future, which will be great.
Yeah, that's going to
We'll
be
come back for
important.
that.
I really could
Thank
go
you.
for a Voice of Jeff chapter. I
Yeah,
miss
I
it,
think we're
man.
gonna be. I don't think we get Voice of Jeff for the all of part 3
All
because
right.
that's like the Fred and Mildred. I guess the point of view sort of changes to them.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
no. There's gonna be a lot of Pruitt and Kearns too, reinvestigating. So it's not just them. There's sort of a parallel track of the
Okay.
reinvestigation. Yeah.
I just feel like our production on the Fatal Vision podcast cookbook
Yeah.
has
Well,
lagged, and a lot of that is contingent on spending time with Jeff and hearing Jeff talk about what he's been eating and
yeah.
what.
Well, we have a friend or supposedly 2 friends that were trying to read the entire transcript of unedited of McDonald's tapes to Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And that it doesn't sound like either of them were able to. Something they said they both professed a lifelong desire to see the whole thing, and then it sounded like they were both struggling to actually do it.
Mm.
And but I am curious what food is in there, 'cause there must have been a
Yeah.
lot more food than what made it into Fatal Vision.
Well, Jeff loves to eat.
Oh, he's a foodie. If you went out with him to an Italian restaurant,
Forget
he would
about it.
know he would know the wine. He would know what wine would go with what, and he would get you the dessert drink and the cappuccino and uh,
Seasoning.
seasoning everything. He would snap his fingers at the waiters to get their attention.
And give them some medical advice in the meantime.
Dispense medical advice. Yeah,
Yep. Administer hugs.
yeah, the most worthy of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
And the most loving.
man, the most loving. So he's
All right.
all
Well,
things to all
speaking of
people.
love,
Yeah. Well,
if
if
nobody
nobody's told you today,
today that they love you,
we love you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Good night. We love you all. Bye. Stop recording.
Mhm.
But very briefly, my wife went to an evening course at North Carolina. There are at least 4 people running around who have murdered 3 people.